It is my honor and privilege to welcome you to the 29th COREN Engineering Assembly, the largest gathering of engineering practitioners in Nigeria. In 2020, the Assembly could not hold as a result of the lockdown occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank the Almighty Allah for sparing our lives to be able to witness this auspicious occasion today. The Engineering Assembly is an innovation of Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, aimed at bringing together engineering practitioners, relevant stakeholders, and friends of the engineering profession in Nigeria. A brief history of the Assembly has already been taken by the able MC. So let me say that I am particularly pleased to welcome everyone to this Assembly, the chairman of this occasion, our own engineer Umahi. Let me appreciate His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, DCFR, the science and technology subsector of the Nigerian economy. In what could be described as a bold move towards enhancing the socio-economic standing of the professionals in the science, engineering, and technological disciplines, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria issued Executive Order No. 5 on Friday, February 2nd, 2018. In the proclamation entitled Presidential Executive Order for Planning and Execution of Projects, Promotion of Nigerian Content in Contracts, Science, Engineering, and Technology, President Buhari, in pursuant to the authority vested in him by the Constitution, signed the order making it mandatory for all ministries, departments, and agencies of government to engage indigenous professionals in the planning, design, and execution of national security projects, not maximize in-country capacity in all contracts and transactions with science, engineering, and technology components. By this act, the President has certainly confirmed that Nigerian professionals are not bereft of the skills, expertise, and competence to perform like their foreign counterparts, but for the seeming preference of expatriates, which has not only been counterproductive, but has also led to massive capital flights. Directly connected to the above, and with the same commitment of ensuring that Nigerians become active participants in all sectors of the Nigerian economy and deepening of engineering profession among others, the President also assented to Engineers Registration, etc. Amendment Act 2018. The Act broadened the authorities of COREN with far-reaching powers of prosecution of infractions, ensuring capacity building, and monitoring local content development in the engineering industry. With these two gestures, I want to, on behalf of the engineering family, thank Mr. President of the Federal Republic. Let me respectfully acknowledge in our midst, once again, the chairman of this occasion, Governor of Ebonyi State, His Excellency Engineer David Mweze Umahi, FNSC FNATIC. We appreciate you for your love for the engineering profession. You are making engineering practitioners proud in what you are doing in Ebonyi State. Our chief host, the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, welcome you. Here represented by one of our own too. Our host, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, we also welcome you. It is heartwarming to welcome all dignitaries, including the leadership and members of the National Assembly, executive governors, members of the Federal and State Executive Councils here present, captains of industry, chief executives of other professional and regulatory bodies, and members of the diplomatic corps here present. Let me also once again welcome our royal fathers. The theme for this year's assembly is advancing the frontiers of engineering practitioners and entrenching professionalism for national development. The theme has been carefully chosen, taking cognizance of our nation's quest for rapid and sustained infrastructural and economic growth, which can only be achieved by breaking geographical barriers to the practice of engineering. Indeed, the experience of the COVID-19 calls for this. Hence, the discussions on the various selected sub-themes will expectedly address the theme and effectively demonstrate engineering practice beyond the COVID-19 era. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for emphasis, let me briefly review some salient gains of the COREN Act, the new COREN Act. Council has been endowed with the powers to regulate and control, amongst others, the following: mandatory attachment of Nigerians to expatriate engineers on major projects to understudy them from inception, ensuring that all foreign engineering firms establish their design offices in Nigeria, granting of compulsory attestation to all expatriate quota applications that there are no qualified and competent Nigerians for any job in question at the time of application, and that granting of the said expatriate quota shall be contingent on training of such number of persons as may be required for the execution of that particular job. Ensuring that before being allowed to practice in Nigeria, such foreign engineering practitioners granted work permit must register with the council and obtain such licenses, including practicing licenses, as may be required from time to time. In consonance with this, Council has established corporate synergies with the Ministry of Interior, the Corporate Affairs Commission, and other departments and agencies of government whose responsibilities have something to do with any of their goals. This assembly will receive progress reports on the level of cooperation or otherwise from stakeholders across the sectors. Continuing professional development. As the saying goes, to whom much is given, much is also expected. Council is much aware of the inherent challenges to the gains of the amendment, which is about the capacity of the Nigerian practitioners and also practicing in line with global best practices. COREN is therefore planning to institute continuing professional development as a compulsory requirement for all practitioners applying for practice license. CPD in an engineering context, when introduced, is particularly aimed at ensuring the systematic improvement and broadening of knowledge, skill, and development of personal qualities for the execution of professional and technical duties. It is important to bear in mind at this juncture that Council will soon promulgate regulations on the introduction of the CPD system as part of the requirement for obtaining professional and firm practice license. It will no longer be business as usual, where in the past you just pay your practice fee and download your license. You have to show evidence of practice of the engineering profession. In the course of this assembly, a detailed paper will be presented by the chairman of the Council Committee on CPD, Engineer George Chukwulewa, which has been charged with the responsibility of working out the modalities. Outcome-based engineering education. COREN's quest to advance the frontiers of engineering practice saw evolving innovations in engineering education. The introduction of the outcome-based education in engineering is another effort to enhance capacity and mobility of registered engineering practitioners in Nigeria. The proponent of the OBE is the International Engineering Alliance, which comprises members from 35 jurisdictions within 26 countries. COREN has been desirous of becoming a member of this alliance in a bid to internationalize Nigerian engineering qualifications and thereby improve the quality, productivity, and mobility of Nigerian engineers. Alongside the present system of education, COREN has redesigned its accreditation process to be substantially equivalent to that of the signatories of Washington Accord. This has given COREN the opportunity to benchmark its processes with those of its mentors, assigned by Washington Accord. It has also helped Nigerian engineering education to conform with international best practices, and COREN could be considered to be ready for provisional signatory status of Washington Accord. We reported at the last assembly the efforts we have made so far, right from the presidency of Engineer Kashim Ali up to the time we took over. We had made some substantial progress, but COVID-19 stalled our progress. And I believe that in the next couple of months, the IEA itself will be reactivated, and COREN will also reactivate its application. The overall objective is for Council to encourage engineering faculties to adopt OBE system and thus graduate globally recognized engineers. Technical and vocational education training. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, technical and vocational education training, TVET, and in particular engineering craftsmen and technicians, constitute a very important component of the value chain in the engineering service delivery. They are very essential in manufacturing, production, maintenance, and repair of engineering products. While the successful practice of engineering involves the division of labor of an interdependent team of people with diverse degrees of skills and expertise, statistics available in COREN has shown that there are more engineers than engineering technicians and craftsmen put together. And an era of inverted pyramid of the skill mix has created a wide skills gap. It is therefore important to scale up action on encouraging young people to train as engineering technicians and craftsmen in order to revamp technical education. There is also the issue of the dearth of indigenous engineering technicians and craftsmen in engineering services, which is a major economic setback. And as the skills gap continues to widen, there has been huge capital flight as expatriates come in to fill the lacuna at the detriment of the country. It was estimated that the country loses huge resources to foreign engineering technicians and craftsmen as the local built environment fails to generate the required manpower. According to experts, more than 80% of masons, carpenters, steel fabricators, plumbers, electricians, painters, and tilers found on construction sites across the length and breadth of Nigeria are foreigners from neighboring countries of Cameroon, Niger, Togo, and Ghana. Some firms go as far as China to employ engineering technicians and craftsmen. The skill gap has continued to increase over the years due to the retirement of aged engineering technicians and craftsmen without the young generation being sufficiently groomed to take over from them. The situation is compounded by the absence of a well-structured TVET, an apprenticeship system for workmen in technical colleges. Technical colleges are the institutions which produce members of the engineering craftsmen cadre. And they are no more available. Where they are in dilapidated states. In the 1960s through the 70s, technical colleges were the pride of the TVET. in Nigeria with sprawling structures, well-equipped laboratories and workshops, sound and robust staffing, eager to learn and proud students, and everything else that promoted a robust technical education system in Nigeria. The present condition of technical colleges is a far cry from that of years past. Nowadays, technical colleges in Nigeria have become, like I said, dilapidated and moribund. Their structures are ramshackle with roofs of classrooms blown off, walls on the floor, workshop and laboratory equipment obsolete, and they have become unserviceable, power supply cut off, with almost all looking ghostly. In order to look at possible ways of reversing the situation, COREN organized a retreat in Calabar and a stakeholders workshop in Abuja in the year 2017. The communique of the two conferences lamented the situation and made a clarion call on all stakeholders, particularly state governors, who these technical colleges fall under their purview, federal and local governments, to urgently take steps towards the resuscitation of TVET in Nigeria. The present administration in the country is showing some seriousness in infrastructural development across all sectors of the economy. Since there can be no sustainable development in the nation's infrastructure if technical colleges are allowed to go extinct, COREN is very conscious of the critical role of TVET, the role that TVET is expected to play if the nation is to achieve sustainable job and wealth creation amongst its youth and other vulnerable groups. This realization led COREN to intensify its engagement with the Committee of Deans of Engineering and Technology in Nigerian Universities, CODET, and Committee of Deans and Engineering Technology in Nigerian Polytechnics, COMPODET, and recently made the chairman of these two bodies members of the Engineering and Training Committee of Council. COREN has also initiated efforts to create the third body of COPTEC to represent the technical colleges, all geared towards the deepening of TVET at the grassroots of the engineering family pyramid. Furthermore, Council is going to closely work with the MBTE as the National Board for Technical Education, the National Business and Technical Examination Board, NAPTED, whose DG will be presenting a paper at this assembly, and the COPTEC with the full involvement of NATE, NICET, and NAEC to correct the positioning of the inverted pyramid amongst the engineering family in terms of knowledge, skills, competence, proficiency, and promoting strategic alliance and spirit of teamwork. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is in the same spirit of indigenous capacity building that I report to this Assembly that the National Council on Works recently approved apprenticeship placement of engineering undergraduates and students of technical colleges on projects at all levels of government for effective implementation of the outcome-based education in engineering. In addition, like the Registrar mentioned in his opening remark, a database of undergraduate students in universities, polytechnics, and technical institutions has been developed by COREN to index all engineering students and further ensure compliance with approved carrying capacities of educational institutions for all engineering programs for enhanced competence and skill amongst engineering graduates. Permit me, Your Excellency, to recall with appreciation the COREN long-term program and enforcement platform, which we always refer to as the Engineering Regulations and Monitoring, ERM. The program, which was started in 1997, was aimed at ensuring capacity composite value addition to the Nigerian economy by systematic development of capacity and capabilities through deliberate utilization of Nigerian human and material resources and services in the Nigerian engineering sector. This was aimed at putting our destiny in our own hands. Most members of this assembly participated in this initiative at that time pro bono. However, the amended COREN Act has now instituted engineering regulations monitoring as an important mandate of COREN to further deepen professionalism in engineering practice. Council has therefore established the ERM department and presently working to recruit experienced practitioners to drive the schedule. In the meantime, Council has inaugurated the state's technical committees as well as the state expatriate monitoring committees as a stopgap to immediately commence the activity of the department. So far, the committees have started work in 11 states of the Federation, including Ebonyi State, which was inaugurated early this year. The work is at an advanced stage to have all the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory STCs inaugurated. Let me use this opportunity to once again congratulate the members of the various state committees and wish them a successful tenure in the service of the engineering profession. Council will work through the various STCs and SEMCs to monitor and enforce compliance of the COREN Act. As an important stakeholder, this assembly is invited to collaborate with the initiative in the interest of public safety and for the protection of the national development and economic investment. Engineering codes and standards. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there has also been a concern about the Nigerian engineering codes and standards. Presently, in the Nigerian engineering practice arena, there are multiplicity of codes and standards, and this is not good for our national development. Several efforts and commitments have been thrown at developing the Nigerian engineering codes and standards, and except from drafts and paper, records available in COREN shelves and library, nothing tangible can be said to have been achieved. The Council only recently approved and inaugurated a standing committee on engineering codes and standards. Among other functions, the committee is to formulate guidelines and procedures for preparation, review, adoption of codes and standards for engineering practice fields, and with a view to achieving global best practice in engineering. This information is very important to this assembly as it is meant to request all practitioners to actively support the committee and ensure that at the next COREN assembly, a set of Nigerian engineering codes and standards will be launched. Since these codes and standards are the technical guidelines for promoting safety, reliability, productivity, and efficiency in engineering work, COREN shall continue to encourage the relevant and competent institutions, organizations, and associations to make the development of codes and standards the foundation of their professional work. We're already working in synergy with the Nigerian Society of Engineers Committee on Codes and Standards. Realizing the critical requirements of the assignment, the committee has started working with the NSCF, I've mentioned that, and coded for possible review of the records and documents found in the registry. Operational manuals to deepen engineering practice. Let me state that within the last 24 months, Council has set up various committees and they had developed various operational manuals to deepen engineering practice. Among them are engineering regulations and monitoring operational guidelines, the ERM reporting template, the guidelines for registration of engineering practitioners, outcome-based engineering education accreditation manual, manual of continuing professional development, CPD for engineering practitioners in Nigeria, and so on. All these are available at this assembly for purchase at a very giveaway price. Your Excellencies, distinguished invitees, members of the engineering family, ladies and gentlemen, this annual event offers a unique platform to deliberate on other issues affecting us, reflect on the state of engineering, and provide vibrant solutions. This will help in repositioning engineering practice in Nigeria, maximize the immense potentials that exist for and in the profession as an integral component in the search for sustainable socio-economic and infrastructural development of our country. I therefore urge all participants to take active part in all deliberations. In concluding this speech, I will conclude on a very sober note. In this world, there is a time to come and there is also a time to leave. Since the last assembly, Council has received the news of the demise of our colleagues, engineering practitioners from across the country. To mention just a few, May 11th last year, the engineering family was hit by the sudden death of one of the greatest engineers Nigeria has produced, Engineer Ibrahim Khalil Inoa. Some weeks back, His Excellency Governor Dave Umahi lost two of his very able commissioners almost in quick succession. Engineer Fidelis Mweze, a very distinguished engineer who was Commissioner for Infrastructural Development for Concessioning, died on the 22nd of June 2021 from injuries he sustained as a result of an automobile accident he had on Enugu-Abakaliki Road. Some weeks before then, the Commissioner for Lands and Housing, a very distinct, and others,